Hello, and welcome to another tale pulled off the shelves at the heart of the Jakuls. As always, I'm your dependable host, Lothrin, and there's ever so much more info to relay. So let's get right back to it, shall we? Go grab a filling meal, settle into a comfy spot, and pay careful attention to Fleet Part 14. Regular day. Cam adjusted his shirt, took a single calming breath, brushed off his pants, and stepped through the bulkhead into the hallway, an all too familiar sight greeting him, a clustered knot of second-in-commands of their various departments clogging up the path toward main ops. Mizal! Report to Lotum after we speak. I want you to carve out a site near main engineering and fit it for meetings so I don't have to deal with this every time I wake up. Can I go right now, sir? Don't you have something to say? Lotum, he has a talent for predicting your needs. He wanted you to sign off on Vu relic scraping, and so that we can expand the base wherever necessary by each division. Get it done. Come and find me when that old salt has the estimates for how he wants to build the rooms. Right here, sir. Mizal handed over the new report pads. Lotum demands thorough work from all his subordinates. These are my best guesses for all the requests the division's heads have asked of main engineering. I'm beginning to fall for Chief Lotum in a big way, Cam joked, aware of the ease he put on the anxious men and women awaiting his responses to their various needs. This is acceptable. You'll have to ask Kath for a well-armed security detail. Most of the areas where you'll find these VU materials are still being patrolled by drone rovers. Back to work, Mizal. Excellent job. Pass my regards to Lotum. Yes, sir. Mizal hurried off to start his day. I'm just going to pop my head into ops. The rest of you go down a floor and gather in that storage bay near the stairwell. Vozan, you've been there before. Lead the way. Aye, aye, sir. Follow me, guys. Vozan turned to the others, gesturing for them to follow in his wake. Cam walked up to Ops, ducking through the bulkhead as he checked on Bildar's newest hiding spot. You're up early, sir, Bildar commented without turning away from eagerly being buried in one of the computer displays. How are you handling your demotion? Cam asked snidely after being handed a warm cup of some hot liquid nectar that smelled positively delightful. Well, Estok is better in that position than I ever would have been. I'm more of an explorer and a soldier than a researcher. Vildar broke away from the screen to take what looked to be his fourth cup from an assistant before diving right back into whatever had caught his attention. Fancy yourself a Hithol of old, banishing ancient evils back to whatever hole they crawled out of? Cam asked as he took an unconscious seat and sorted through a few allocation reports he'd eventually have to sign off on. You'd be surprised how much of that I used to get up to. When the archive finds someone with decent combat ability, they're very remiss and steadfast in their desire to keep that person on the job. What happened? Cam stood back up, downing the rest of his nectar. Igvor. I'm not sure if Theta and I were serious before she became pregnant, but the moment she was as serious as anyone ever could be with me finding a different line of work. Do you miss it? Cam asked as his cup was pulled out of his hands as he attempted to clean it himself. He ignored the intrusion to move back toward the door and out of the already buzzing activity of the room. A little. Wouldn't trade seeing my sons for the old life, though. Too much time pushing back the shrouds of the ancient ways. Forgotten and lost experiments of the Boo and all that. Not many are cut out for that sort of thing for a long period of time. Vildar raised his head long enough to call out to Cam as he was about to leave for the rest of his day. Will you have any time to go over the data I collected on the various other bases in the systems? Cam mulled it over. Maybe around lunch? There's always more work to do. I'm more interested in a report on why this system has so many blimmin' planets. 30 habitable planets and moons, not to mention a dozen gas giants, and any number of smaller rocks all scattered about. Something feels off. I'll look into it, sir. See you at lunch. Vildar turned back to the screen, signaling the end of their conversation. Cam soon found himself in the room he'd told the second-in-commands to wait in, all of them clustering around in earnest and eager anticipation to get back to their routines. Vozon, go ahead. Cam pushed them back with a wave of one hand. Sir, Estok and I developed a method of streamlining fic production, and he also came up with a way to adapt the tool for other uses. How long till you can give me a demonstration? Vozon smirked, retrieving a small part from one of his bags and twist-locking it into place on his modified fic repair tool. He took it and held it like it was a pistol and fired a wobbling bubble of dark green energy that slammed into the wall, crashing like thunder and erupting across the storage room they all stood within. The round is quite slow. Can you improve its speed? I have improved the speed, sir. Already, a few times by tweaking the calibration. I can continue working on it in my spare time if... But Estok doesn't think it's important. Cam held up a hand to silence any responding comments. This is a major advancement. Think about it. Engineering in the field becoming a viable threat to the enemy. As of this moment, you're on a special project, Vozon. You still report to Estok, but seek design and production advice from Kath and Armaments. I want all of the possible attachments you can conceive of brought to my attention by tomorrow. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir, Commander. Vozon replied, stowing his invention and running off to inform Estok of his new assignment. Linth, what news does Rill have for me today? Sir, the young woman saluted Cam by pressing her right fist to her left shoulder and bowing slightly. Lieutenant Rill has signed off on our first Resilient-class modified vessel. There is only one major inconsistency with the design, but Rill believes it to be beneficial and not detrimental. What's wrong? Cam asked as he addressed the pilot. Nothing, sir. It's just, even with the outer folds that began to form in the armor of the craft, and Rill accepting them for now, the interior has gained a full meter of excess space. So Rill figured out a way to reorganize the interior to maximize potential cargo holds? Cam asked, leaping to the only logical conclusion. No, sir. She shook her head to assure Cam that his assumption was not the case at hand. Cam furrowed his brows. How is there extra space, then? Rill made us go over the craft all night. It's slightly larger inside than it is outside. We thought it was our equipment at first, but Rill took to measuring with tape and string to be sure our sensors weren't deceiving us. Cam stroked the light beard he was beginning to grow upon his chin. It could be the Zothamire alloy we fused into the ablative armor plating. You heard of this sort of thing before, sir? She asked, sounding more than a little relieved. Only in books back on my homeworld. The Vu hives were supposedly, when actively functioning, much larger on the inside than they were on the outside. I found a lot of Zothamire powder on the inside of those Umbra plates exploring the strewn fields near my city. Report back to Rill, have him write up a basic assessment, and deliver it to Estok for further study. If there's a way we can make a ship even 6 meters larger on the inside than the outside, I want it investigated ASAP. Get to work, pilot. She saluted just as crisply and sped off back to the hangar as fast as her legs could take her. "What are you here for, Mara?" Cam addressed the last person awaiting his instruction. "Mostly to get away from the humidity, sir. It's abysmal down there." Cam smiled at her snide remark in spite of himself. "Present something to report or get back to work, engineer." Cam leveled his ire back at her, lopping the returned smile from her beautiful features all too quickly for his own internal preference. He had to be careful with her. Too much was at stake to go easy on Mara in any way. I'm finished with everything you listed and a few more designs I came up with on my own. I'll need different soil samples to progress further." "Didn't I already send a shipment all the way down there?" You did, but the engineers you assigned to deliver it only brought it halfway. I can only transport so much at a time. I was hoping you could get someone else to help me haul the rest. Request denied, Mara. I like you. I do. You're diligent, creative, and determined to prove yourself. But figure it out for yourself. Cam hardened his expression toward her. He put himself and the entire operation on the support of a thin thread already. He could not show favoritism of any kind to her, no matter how much he enjoyed her company or work ethic. Mira shut her eyes, swallowing whatever vehement and loathing-filled phrase was on the tip of her tongue. "Yes, Commander," she stated evenly and plainly. "I'll figure out a solution and pass the designs on to Estoc as instructed." "Excellent. You are dismissed, engineer. Back to the hell pit with you." Cam turned on his heels and left the room without offering up any solace to the young woman. And so it is. Our time together has once more come to an end. I hope you enjoyed the tale as much as I have the telling of it to each of you. As always, I've been your capable host, Lothran, and this was Fleet Part 14, Regular Day. Another tale straight from the heart of the Jakuls. And now, we must once more ever so sadly part ways. Korvoth, guide them back along the proper path, back to the safety they know all too well.
Yes, sir, Lothran. Oh. I love these little incremental development stories. It gives a real feeling of a lived-in world. No more jumping around here and there. Now we see what Cam, and in a lesser degree, Kath, are both made of. Back to my work. A pleasant greeting and a fond farewell to each and all. Please leave all your comments, questions, and kindnesses down below. Don't you let me catch any of you leaving any of that rude, terrible, or mean stuff, though. You keep all that waste to yourself. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to help us learn, spread, and grow. And don't forget, we strongly implore each and every one of you to do your utmost to stay safe out there. See you again tomorrow for Fleet Part 15. It's gonna be good. Good night and good luck. You'll need it. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.